He's just a baby.
He's bigger than you.
He's a growing boy.
They're at it again.
I didn't say a word when it had to sleep in my sock drawer.
No, you said...
I was very understanding when it claimed the dresser.
You threw a book...
And I was practically saint-like when it took over the wardrobe.
It was your kobold dictionary, which is thicker than usual because of all the pictures.
But I draw the line at this.
You haven't got a pencil.
I can lend you a pen.
Damn close.
Sort it out.
Oh no, don't come here. Hello, Snodford.
Phlegm, I can't deal with this anymore. Do you know what that denizen of the devil's own dank shed has done now?
Enlighten me.
He strung me four-poster up with its nether ropes and made an honest-to-Eunice nest in our bloody room.
What a scamp.
You what? Oh, you're loving this, aren't you?
Oh, quite. It's every deity's dream to house two idiots and their pet nightmare. No, I'm just furnished with two things you lack. Knowledge and patience.
Eh?
The knowledge that although giant cave spiders can live for 30 years, that is the females.
Oh.
Male giant cave spiders only live for a few weeks. Then I have the patience to let nature take its course.
Oh.
Yes, soon this situation will sort itself out.
Providing it is male.
Oh. Kutam milunu dizuamid. Welcome one and all to the only place in this dimension of diminutive diagnosticians less suitable to suture a suite of slashing lacerations than the gloop-grimed ground of a goblin gore-hole. That we all call Mirrorgleam. Yes, we're back in what will be the new hospital, just as soon as we get the walls up and the doctoring paraphernalia in. You know, beds and such. Those who paid attention last episode will not be wondering why there are holes dug in the floor. But so nobody assumes our dwarves have embraced a darkly pragmatic attitude towards the infirm, these shall be covered over by glass or bars to allow the sick to absorb some of the atmosphere from the bile burp bonbons below. I am actually unsure whether multi-level fraternization is a possibility, but I like the idea, and this is my dimension, so it's happening. Something that isn't happening in my dimension is the filling of our secondary reservoir. At least, it isn't happening at any rate beyond glacial. You see, aquifers exist by having individual blocks within a chunk layer acting as infinite spawn points for water on open tiles neighbouring all unaltered rock faces besides the top. By removing the block, we remove the very thing that was spawning the water and, in this case, uncover the dry floor of the non-aquifer blocks above. I realised my mistake almost immediately upon completing the second floor, but by definition it was of course far too late at that point. But there's no sense crying over unspilt groundwater. I have an idea for how we'll repair the situation, and we'll set the dwarves to it immediately. Moving on, with our stock of pigtails still low from last episode, I've decided it's time for us to brave the caverns once more. At least that was the motivation originally. Once I'd gathered the warriors and psyched myself up, the quick glance over the available cavern plants coming up bare of pigtail caused nothing more than a grunt of annoyance. We're here now and Arare is nowhere to be seen, so best to take industrial action immediately the ironing is completed. Opening the bridge, our warriors show their mettle by just about leading the charge. Then tell me, good people, where else could you get such riveting content outside of camping at a shipyard? They're gathering fungus, and at least one of our warriors is watching them do it. Why was I worried? I guess the troglodytes were dealt with by our friend Unu, who themselves disappeared into the dark so far never to return. Everything else was thagamized to beyond an inch of its life by Arare. Maybe we should look into walling off a good portion of the space out here so we can... Oh, there it is! Dragging itself around the western map edge, desperately trying to catch a giant cave toad so it can bleed all over it to death. Acting as a one-beast cleanup crew for cavern creatures has left it a little worse for wear, understandably. What say we go put it out of its misery? Go, our little warriors! Fear not a short life with a splatty end. To honour! To victory! 2 seconds, I've just dropped my pen. Ah, got it. No, they got it already. And Zalban Ultar Irtir has named the fateful weapon that landed the killing blow. Ilom Enten... Oh, why is she using a bronze spear? Well, it looks like it was pretty effective. A final blow to the head that chipped the skull and tore the brain. Yes, that'll do it. And here's Zalban. 1 kill, Arare Fish Hollows. I'd say that earns you a nickname. It took real guts to attack what was, for all intents and purposes, a dragon with a pointy bit of antiquated metal on a stick. So, guts is what we shall call you. Good work! We're following Mathol... Wheels face? No, I shouldn't laugh. Because he's gone into a strange mood. Mathol is a one-time novice, but a prolific dabbler, and as such his jumping for the Crafts Dwarf workshop doesn't fill me with surprise. Whatever he makes, it won't fix his standing with his fellow dwarves, however. Oh, it's nothing he's done, more an unfortunate twist of fate. See, his mother was a canyon humour debutante, short, hairy, smell like a sack full of pennies to the face. All a dwarven lad could wish for. His father was the first son of a lord, also short and hairy, but fated one day to own all that the light didn't touch. Mines, you see. And after they wed, as is right and proper, Mathol popped out of the ground in the paws of the baby delivery mole. Sadly, he'd taken one too many rocks to the face on the way up. It looked like he'd been run over by a cart, so the name stuck. Let's give him a minute and see what he can do. And he has created Avan Zimkel, the lyric of plains, and that's plains like grasslands. As far as I'm aware, no dwarves have engaged in aeronautics quite yet. And it's just a nice limonite mug. Worth rather a lot considering what it is, but not adorned with anything we can get excited about. Unless tetrahedrons get your blood pumping. It's a mug. He's decorated it with silver, pig iron and fortification agates. He's offered it to us. I wish I could say it won't just lie in the workshop gathering dust, but I know my dwarves and I know myself. Thank you, Mathol, you ugly, ugly dwarf.
Here, Phlegm, I just realised something.
Yes?
When me and Graham moved in, you said we couldn't bring any pets.
Well, not quite.
I had to send Mr. Thumbs to go live with my sister, and she's allergic to comedy sound effects, so she didn't half make a big fuss about it.
Well,
but the second Graham wants a pet, it's all, oh, absolutely dootly Gainsborough. Admit it, you just like him more than me, don't you?
3 things.
No.
Firstly, what I said was no pets that can mimic me perfectly and are able to read credit card details.
Well,
secondly, we tricked poor Gainsborough into baby bird bonding with what we thought would be his biggest nightmare. And it backfired.
And third,
yes, I do like him more. Oh look, it's Batwoman. Sorry, a Batwoman. My me, can you imagine? What a stupid superhero name. Oh, and she's dead. Struck down in her prime when she had so many criminal moths left to eat. The denizens of the caverns will have to find new ways to contract rabies and get squeaked on. Oh damn, we're following this giant cave toad who will swiftly splat after he gained the name of Spine Pit for murdering one of our dwarves. And it's Erdim Blunt Paint, a name you may recognise as we watched him pick some bilberries once. Such a shame for one blessed with such eminent reputation. And how precisely did he die to a giant cave toad? Well, I fear he's earned himself a fairly prominent reputation there too. After a short period of back and forth biting, where Erdim actually puts in a good showing, Spine Pit finally latched to the poor dwarf's right cheek and shook him around until his face came off. Soon after that, he croaked. Then Erdim died. And we welcome Melville to the fortress once more. I mean, there's stealing yourself, and then there's farting around on the map edge, making the place look untidy. Melville? I'll get back to you when she stops counting snowflakes, or whatever it is she thinks she's doing. Well, it only took 4 in-dimension days, and she's beaten her crippling fear of not being a complete numpty. Now she's for the obligatory chase Yorist around the fortress game, and what say we just skip to the trade requests? Nothing out of the ordinary. We'll take logs, and Canyon Humor wants anvils and ammunition. Seeing as Yorist is building himself a nest out of the thousands of bone bolts he's mandated, I don't see us being able to help. Mind yourself on the way out, Melville. Need you sane for next year. Moving on, we're back above the second layer of the secondary reservoir. Here you can see the modifications we made to increase water flow, and just look at that puppy fill now. And this is after it having stalled a little upon reaching the second floor. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that even without the second floor being filled, we now have enough water-spawnable rock faces that, should we just let the pump start up, the flow will prove equal to its task. Nothing saying we must rush ourselves in this endeavour, though. Still a handful of tasks to complete before the water must be unleashed. Dealing with dwarves going into strange moods was not one of those tasks planned, but I can't be too annoyed as it's Einod Armour Inks. Our manager, one of our original 7 dwarves, and the only reason anything ever gets done around here. She's a master weaver and an adept spinner, but she's picked a stoneworker's workshop to claim, and so I have extra reason to be less disappointed than usual.
Einod, I know you can't hear me, but you can feel the eldritch echo of my words in your bones. Don't mess this up. Continue being the owner of the fort's single brain cell and utilize its overtaxed power to generate an artifact of great value, or failing that, at least great cultural significance. All eyes are on you, little miner.
Then she's created a burble dethalum nosing. Romantic growths, the worthy stone of brushing. Well, either my almighty influence has reduced her will to mush, or she took more brain damage from falling down the big circle than we thought. It's a limestone coffin, worth about half what the limonite mug was, and it's got artwork on it relating to the foundation of Eldersrax in the year 1. Eldersrax being a fort of little note close to Canyon Humor. She's offered it to Mirrorgleam, so I guess we can use it to make Yorist happier about his tomb at least. Good me.
Sandwich, come to Daddy.
Gainsborough?
Hello, Mr. Crevice.
Yes, hello. Look, I had to ask, why did you name your ostrich Sandwich?
Oh, it's short for Sandy.
No, it isn't.
'Cause they put their heads in the sand.
Well, actually...
No, we ain't got no sand round here, so I had to dig him a sand pit behind the shed.
Isn't my vegetable patch behind the shed?
No, it isn't.
What are you doing anyway?
Well, we were playing hide and seek, but I forgot which one I was doing.
So you've lost it.
Not my fault. He's very good at hide and seek. Or I am.
Where's Snodford?
I saw him go through your dimension portal, dragging a huge wriggling sack.
Oh. Oh dear. And it's another strange mood. This time it's Attia Galley Stockade, and he's off to claim a crafts dwarf workshop. No obvious skills to speak of, and so we shall just wait to see what he makes. While we wait, I thought it'd be a good idea to show you all the nice little bubble of safety I've got our dwarves to carve out of the caverns whilst we've been without a beast. Now, yes, it's got a little bit of Erdim's face splattered all over it, but it'll still allow for wild mushroom trees and the odd cavern flora to be picked. Every day we get a little closer to complete self-reliance, and wouldn't that just be a wonderful thing? Still no news from Attia, so let's move on to the area above the big circle, where we can see our dwarves adding floors to flatten off a central section. They're doing this to create the platform that will house the temple I had always planned to put on the top of the Mirror of Destiny. A temple to yours truly, Phlegm Crevice, true creator deity of the dimension of destiny. Now, it's true they're adding a touch more vomit to the foundations than I had planned. But what the snow doesn't cover, the dwarves will mop away, and before long, all in this world who travel through the frozen wastes to the polar butthole of the world will know of my existence and tremble. Because it's cold here. And Attia is done. Amug tinoth ilir tizot. Foggy equal the joyous shanks. And it's another bloody limonite mug. Though it's worth almost double the first and has much cultural significance moulded into the adornments. Firstly is the dedication to Olon Praise Rim, whom we've seen dedicated on a veil made by Law before. We can only assume she was particularly short and or hairy. A depiction of a desert lime tree made of apple wood, clearly an attempt to make a picture fruit salad, and finally an image of Dagel Ragvise, who was our queen in the second year, presumably after our first monarch died in the act of kicking over the elves' nests. It's another good mug, but still just a mug, and so shall be promptly forgotten about and left to rot here or in the pile of nonsense at the tail of the turtle. Now take a look at this Gorlak. Poor fellow must have made his way in whilst we were beast-proofing our new slice of cavern, and bolted for the cage traps that we made years ago to capture mountain gnomes, which have just so happened to finally complete the work we set out for them all that time ago. Our Gorlak friend is now sharing a space with two of the grog-guzzling, grandpa-guised, giggling goat warriors. And we've at least two more over here. Now, what I want to do is to force them into tiny suits and have them act as fort butlers. But although they're sentient, they speak an unintelligible gibberish that's worse than kobold. So they're untamable, unsellable, unreleasable, and live to over 100. Oh, hold that thought. Nish Gate Dust has gone into a strange mood. Again, no skills to talk of, and she's claimed a stoneworker's workshop, so who knows what she's planning. I would ignore these things completely, but they'll just be that one that creates a steel battle axe of ultimate power, and sod's law that'll be the one I miss. Anyway, back to the gnomes. Atop the Mirror of Destiny are 4 outcroppings that I had always planned to place mighty statues to myself on. What could be better than this? Why, long-lived sacrifices to my awesome godliness, being walled into the bases to perhaps be unearthed a century from now to tell of my greatness. So, yes, we're going to be placing the caged gnomes in these rooms and sealing them up before moving to build the statues atop them. And don't worry, caged creatures don't need food or drink or sleep, maybe. Anyway, they'll be fine. Just got to remember to set an alarm for 100 years from now. Where's my diary? I'll just remember it. And Nish has created Gaikat Uthir, Dabbler Seared. It's a limestone ring, claimed as an heirloom in the name of her family ancestor Lorbam Clasped-Rinsed, who is one of our other newer fort denizens. It has a picture on it of Yorist making a llama wool cloth and an image of Carol Tombsrained, who was our outpost liaison for a year just before Melville and Melville. What it isn't is a steel battle axe of ultimate power. And with that we must part ways again for another fortnight. Oh, just quickly though, you can see how slowly the second layer of the reservoir fills. Bloody evaporation. When will we see condensation, Mr. Adams? That's what I'd like to know. Invalidating my dang water cycle. Where was I? Oh yes, goodbye. I have been working on a new style of video in between episodes, one that involves a lot more editing work than I think I was prepared for, so watch out for that in a few months. But otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I shall see you again next time. Anu Zeshon, you most wonderful of individuals. Anus Eshon. He's gonna be much happier on a farm, Graham.
I know. And thank you for giving me his goodbye note.
No worries. I have no words.